here. And by raise of hands, how many of you, if I was to say what's your future plan, know the answer to that? Kind of like, okay, raise your hands. Okay. So you guys got this. Right? How many of you feel a little bit more like this? Okay. Well, if it makes you feel any better, I'm going to tell you a little bit of my story, and I think it'll help you feel a little more at ease of where you're at. So that was me. I grew up in a family of 10 kids, moved all over the country. My dad was FBI. And my goal in life was to come out to BYU, marry that guy, have all those kids, and be a stay-at-home mom. So that was my future plan at the time. I kind of worked. I started at the age of 17 at BYU, got married at 20, engaged at 19, married at 20, the whole pro thing was awesome. Ended up dropping out of school to put my husband through at the time, which I highly do not recommend. It's more important for everyone needs to get their education and finish. Okay, it's a really big deal. And I ended up having 2 little kids, and I got divorced and was a single mom and had to raise a family. So for me, this was where I was in my life. Okay, things didn't quite go the way that I had planned for them to go. But I want to talk about how I went from there to the things that you heard him share with you in that bio. The first thing I had to do is figure out what am I going to do, right? And that's a question I think a lot of people at your age. I have 2 kids that are both around your age, and they, it's like, what am I going to do with my life kind of thing? They're not sure. And so some of the things you have to ask yourself when you're trying to figure that out is, what are you good at? Like, what do you naturally enjoy doing? What gets you excited to get up in the morning, right? The things that you naturally have a passion for. If you don't know what your God-given talents are, ask your parents, ask your friends. What are the natural abilities you have? Because everybody's got some. There's no one I've ever met that doesn't have some natural gifts and talents. What connections do you have access to? It's really important to pay attention to the atmosphere you grew up in and who are the people you've been able to be surrounded by. I don't think anything happens by coincidence. So I think a lot of times if you can look at those things, they'll help you kind of figure out things that you might naturally be able to fit into. And then what life experiences and work that they do from you. Okay? So a lot of people would say at that point in my life, they were like, well, do something you love. And I thought, well, I like to shop. I'm not going to make money off of that right now. So, bubble bath shopping, those are hard things to make a career out of. The other thing people said is do something you believe in. Now, I actually do believe this part. I think we tend to do better when we're doing something for someone else. We will work harder for others than we will for ourselves. So if we're working for a cause, and your generation is known for being the generation that cares about this part about working for a cause, if there's something that you feel like you're doing to improve the world by what you're doing, you'll end up working harder for it. There's lots of ways to make the money and still improve the world, right? I mean, I would argue that Chick-fil-A has improved my life substantially. Zappos really improved my life. But the most important thing is to do something. And that's where I think so many people get hung up, right? They know they want to do something, they're trying to come up with all these ideas, and they never actually get started. So one of the things that really impacted my life the most was my grandfather, who's now passed away. But when I was younger, I went to him, and he shared an experience with me that he had had when he was young, where he said, Amy, the most important thing to do is get up, do something, do anything, just make a start. Okay? He was trying to tell me that it didn't matter if you didn't have all the facts figured out. It didn't matter if you didn't know exactly how you're going to make it happen, but if you would start moving, if you would get into motion, then you could actually start going somewhere. God doesn't drive a parked car kind of a thing, and so you have to be kind of moving forward for things to happen, but it's important to get started. So one of the things that I think is most important, especially at your age, is this, because we all have tremendous fear, right? Ask yourself the question, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? What would I do if I wasn't afraid? The answer to that is likely the right question to what you should be doing. So I sat down at a very young age, and I was 23 when I started my first company, but I sat down and I made a goal poster. And anyone that knows me, you've heard me talk about goal posters. Some people call them vision boards, I call it a goal poster. I don't know, so I keep it simple. I sat down and made a goal poster. And I was like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I want to be an entrepreneur, because, I didn't know what else to be. I was going to be a doctor, couldn't be a lawyer. What else do? You be an entrepreneur. You really didn't need background qualifications, so it's perfect for me at the time. I wanted to work in an entrepreneur of the year because that was Ernst & Young was really notable. I wanted to be Bill Gates because Microsoft Windows was new. Okay, I know that makes me super old. It's fine. I want to be on the cover of magazines and be successful and have time with my kids and be Wonder Woman because she's Wonder Woman. So I sat and made this goal poster, hung it up on the wall. Now, how many people think goal posters are cheesy? By raise of hands. Now, I'm not going to be offended. I promise you. Okay. And we're going to come back to you at the end of my little talk here, and we're going to see if you change your mind. So I sat and made that thing, and I thought, okay, now I'm going to get started. Don't know what I'm going to do. Slapped it up on the wall. When it comes to finding opportunities, This is a big question I get. How do I find an opportunity? Okay, here I was going to be an entrepreneur, I need to figure out how to start a company. Pay attention. When you hear people complaining about an issue, and you hear a lot of people complaining about an issue, it could be something you don't like about the way you have to do something in school. It could be something about dating. It could be anything, right? Think about the things in life you hear people complain about, and the more that complain about it, the bigger the opportunity is. Because you can find a solution for those things. So look for discontent. Think differently. A lot of the ideas are going to come by kind of going outside the box, right? Take a look at what other people are doing. The size of the market matters when you want to start a company. It's really important because if I start a company that's going to service, it does something that only 20 people in the universe are going to want, how am I ever going to make money off that? But if I start something, in my case I was in healthcare, technology, right? Healthcare. How many people does it affect? Everybody. That's a big market. That's nice. That's good. So you want a big market because then you only need a little piece of that market if you're going to be successful. Okay? Focus on the impact it's going to help. It goes back to that thing I said about if you're doing something that has a cause and that's good, it'll help you kind of be more passionate about what you're doing. And again, use your talents. So in 1996, I started my first company. I raised $23,000 in angel investment money from my father and my uncle. And I started a company, and by the way, getting that money from my dad was the hardest money I've ever raised in my life. FBI, remember, the parents kind of had. But I started that company, and that's what got me going on my entrepreneurial journey. I did it in healthcare technology. I had a gift, I was ADD, that was one of my God-given gifts. I get bored super easy, and I was working in healthcare offices, and I got really bored having to get up and down and file charts. I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever, right? Like, I hate this. And at the time, scanners were coming out, windows were coming out, and I thought, why can't we just scan information and then I don't have to file it in a chart? And so the more I complained, the more I talked to other people that felt the same issues, it helped me kind of decide, okay, I need to start something in medical that's going to solve some of these issues. That's how I got off the ground. Okay, we're going to talk about overcoming fear, because I was scared of that. When I was 23, I had these 2 little kids. I hadn't finished my education. As a girl in Utah, didn't fit the mold, anything going on at the time, right? So for me, I was scared. I was really scared. And the first fear I had to get over was the fear of what other people think. That is one of the things that holds us back the most. We get worried, right? People think we're stupid. How many of you have a girl you want to ask out, men, and you're scared that, yeah, exactly right. It's really hard. And for me, especially going through a divorce at a young age and not fitting the mold of anything in the area, I was like, I got to get past what other people think, or I'm never going to move forward. So I learned to kind of ignore what other people think, and I realized the only person who I can actually control what he thinks is God. So for me, I'm just going to worry about if I keep him happy, that's all that matters, right? And I don't care what anybody else thinks or says. So that's what I had to focus on. I also learned that the way we see ourselves is made up of 2 things. There's the picture we have of who we think we are, and then there's that picture of the person we want to be. And there's a little, you heard the fake it till you make it thing, right? It's a trick that actually does work. You can actually replace the person that you think you are today with the person you want to be and act like the person you want to be, and you'll actually start to become that. Okay? So for me, when I was nervous, and trust me when I say I was nervous, I was in technology at a time when hardly any women were in technology. And I didn't even realize women were in technology until I went to a CES trade show in Vegas, and I'm walking the floor, and I'm like, the only women here are the higher booth babes. That's what they call them. The girls that work in the trade show booths. I was like, the rest of you guys are all men. I was like, oh my gosh, I think I'm one of the only women that's not working a booth. And so it was a really, one of those things I didn't realize how few women were in technology at the time. Okay, so I decided as I got scared that I would replace myself with that. Because she can do anything, and she has to do and also that makes people tell the truth, which is really cool. But when I would get nervous or scared in any situation, I would literally close my eyes and be like, okay, turn into Wonder Woman, and then I would walk into the meeting I was in and be her, and then when I was done, I could go back to being insecure Amy. And it actually really works. And don't act like you all don't have your superhero in your head, especially Batman, superhero, whatever. So it works though. Whenever you're nervous, close your eyes and picture yourself as that other person and go be that person while you get what's hard done. And slowly you'll start to see that you're becoming that person. The next thing you have to get over is the fear of a dumb idea. Okay, how many of you guys have a business idea in your head but you're a little nervous about it because you think it's dumb? Yeah. I always used to think, well, if it was really a good idea, someone else would have already done it, right? And then you find out someone did do it. Let's talk about any dumb ideas. Slanket, or the Snuggie, or there's a million different brands, knockoffs. You guys heard of this brand? Or this thing? How many of you guys have one? I have a Wonder Woman one, it's kind of tasty. But But the slave game, do you guys know the story about how I got started? So a guy was in college, wanted to play video games, and it was really cold. He was cold, so he had a sleeping bag, but then his arms would get cold. So he told his mom, and she cut holes in his sleeping bag and sewed sleeves on it, and that became the first blanket. Okay, dumb idea? Yes, but look how much money has been sold, right? Another one, goggles. Goggles for your dogs. Sold at PetSmarts across the country. Dumb idea, totally dumb idea. But it's making money, so is it really that dumb? Pillow pets. You guys don't have them. I have 2 kids your age, and they both have a ridiculous number of pillow pets. They're disgusting, too, so these need to get washed. Over $300 million a year in sales, right? Dumb idea. 2 men in a truck. A mom that had 2 boys in high school that were getting in trouble all the time, so she bought a used dump truck, or beat-up pickup truck, and put her boys to work doing all the jobs for the neighbors. Then her boys finally get out of high school, leave to college, and guess what? People keep calling. So she hires a couple more boys, and all of a sudden it's growing like crazy. It's across the country now. Over $220 million a year in sales. Dumb idea? Here's one of my favorites. A guy who got engaged to a girl, and then she dumped him during the engagement. I know, it's a sad Utah story. But he was all upset because he tried to take the ring back, and they said, we're only going to give you pennies on the dollar. And he was like, that's bull. So he decided to turn his bad thing into a good thing by starting a website called I Do Know I Don't, where you can go on and sell your wedding ring and post videos of how she ruined your life, and girls can sell wedding dresses, but it's turned out, a negative thing. Is it a dumb idea? I don't know, it's working, right? There's the fear of being too young, and we don't need to go into Zuckerberg because everyone knows. I mean, the kid was in college. He was your age when he started Facebook. And look what that's doing. $320+ billion. I mean, it's not, you're not too young. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. This is another really big stumbling block. For me, I have made so many mistakes, it's not even funny. Like if you knew the dumb mistakes I made, you'd be like, how is she qualified to talk to us right now? I'm a girl that in college, I was 17 when I came to BYU. I'd never had a checkbook in my life because my dad just handled all that for us, which really makes this his fault, not mine. Because came to college, he hands me a book of checks, and I'm like, what, you just write these and you can just buy stuff with this? This is awesome. No one said anything about having to have cash in the bank, so I bounced so many checks. I probably would have ended up in jail if I hadn't been 17 years old and underage, so my dad had to fly out and meet with the bank president because I didn't know. We had to have money in the bank, apparently, not just a paper check, right? I made a lot of dumb mistakes. I had fire alarms in my house going off for years as a single mom because I didn't know what that annoying sound was or how to get rid of it. So we just learned to do it out. I mean, just dumb stuff, right? And here I was running a company at the time, so that tells you something. But I made a million mistakes. So the sprinkler system's not going to drain them in the winter time, all kinds of stuff, right? Just dumb stuff. But when you make a mistake, the way to handle it, there's a way to handle it that makes it okay. And that is, one, you gotta own it. Okay, the more you make excuses for your mistake, the more it's just gonna dig in deeper. Okay? You gotta fix it. Do whatever you can to fix it. Learn from it and then don't make that same mistake again. The dumbest thing you can do is to repeat a mistake twice. Do not repeat the same mistakes. It's not a failure if you make it once. You're learning, right? It's how you're learning. But don't ever make the same mistake twice. I remember as a kid, I would come home and try to sneak in after curfew, and every time I ended up grounded. Every time. A lot of years grounded. But I always come home making excuses. One night I came in and I put the car in neutral and scooted down the driveway thinking I was being all slick. Got in, there's Dad in his robe, waiting for me, worst feeling ever. And this time, instead of making an excuse, I just said, you know what, I am so sorry. I'm late, this is totally unacceptable. I didn't check the time. And going forward, this is what I'm going to do to make sure I'm on time. And he's like, okay, go to bed. And I'm like, wait, so I'm not grounded? Okay, it taught me a lesson though, a valuable lesson that helped me all through business, which was people will treat you so much differently if you own your mistake, fix it, and tell them how you're going to put safeguards in place not to make it again. You'll get forgiven for all kinds of stuff in business that you never expect to. Also redefine the way you look at failure. Like I said, in my book, I didn't fail if I learned something that made me smarter. People are so afraid to fail, right? They're so afraid, oh, I don't want to do this, it's going to be a failure, and then I'll look dumb, and then what will people think? Well, we already decided we don't care what people think, right? But if we fail, it's only a failure if we didn't learn something that made us smarter. Otherwise, it's a little bit of your education. That's how I look at college for me, right? So I didn't get to finish. So every mistake became part of my college education experience. You don't fail if you learn something that made you smarter in the future. Speaking of dumb things I've done, mistakes I made. So when I was a single mom, I really wanted a boat because my kids have been down to Lake Powell and they've been wakeboarding and they had so much fun when they were little, and I thought, oh, I want to be able to provide that experience for my kids. So I went to look for boats, and there was a nice boat that I wanted, but I thought I'd just use one. So I bought the boat, and I get out on the water with my kids for the first time. And by the way, I don't like to read instructions because I have ADD, so I get bored really fast. So there's not big print and pictures. It's pretty much not happening. So we get out on the lake in the boat, and I'm on a date at the time, which was super awkward. And all of a sudden the boat stops. And we're like, what's wrong with the boat? I mean, I just got this, and it's used, but still, right? It's just been checked. And we're checking everything, and finally my date says, you did put the plug in, right? Plug? Why would you mean plug? Like plug for a hole? Why would you have a hole in the boat? It's going in the water. Because if a woman designed it, guess what? We would not put a hole in it. So that makes no sense whatsoever. Am I right, ladies? So the boat starts to sink. Now, look, that was mortifying and embarrassing. I don't know what else went wrong on that trip. But the point is, when things like that happen, they're going to. They're going to happen. Your whole life you're going to make stupid mistakes. You're going to feel like this dog with your butt wedged in that tree. And some days, some days when you get stuck and bogged down, some days all you can do is smile and wait for someone to kind of remove your butt from the hole you kind of wedged into. You're going to have times that's the case. You've got to learn to laugh about it. And then you go by the pink boat that you actually wanted in the first place to replace it. Right? Because things turn out the best for those who make the best of the way things turn out. Okay, when things go bad, when you have these failures, don't be so freaked out about it. Be like, I'm going to learn from this, I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to be smarter this time, and I'm going to go buy my pink boat with the sparkles in it, because everyone needs that, right? But learn to just laugh about it. Don't take it so serious, and don't be so hard on yourselves that you end up stopping moving forward. Okay, because you are going to make mistakes. I promise you, and I can say this with 100% surety, that everyone in this room is going to make some mistakes, and that's okay, just learn from them. Okay? The most important thing is you're not going to be able to get to fabulous if you don't overcome your fear. It's okay to have the fear, it's okay to feel it because it keeps us humble, but you don't let it stop you. Okay? Don't let it stop you. Move forward, and you'll get less afraid as you continue to move forward. And MediConnect Global is the company that was the most recent company that I had started in healthcare technology and sold. That was the Health Information Exchange company. We had almost 2,000 employees worldwide. I'm going to tell you a couple things, just a little quick points about some of the secrets to our success at that company that might really help you. The first one is, our number one rule at MediConnect was to do what's right, let the consequence follow. Let me explain. I'm sure many of you have heard that little phrase. Let me explain why it was so important to us. You know, in business, your whole careers, you're going to be faced with situations where you can go into the grave. And you're going to watch everyone around you go into the grave. Okay? You're going to have situations where, for example, you're going to be submitting an RFP or a request for proposal to land business from a customer. And one of your competitors is proposing the same thing, right? And you know they're lying on their proposal. And you're like, well, they're going to lie on their proposal, which means they're going to get the business. I'm not going to get the business. So clearly we have to lie on our proposal so that we can actually make sure they don't win for lying, right? You can see how people's brains start to justify and figure out why they should be able to do this, okay? It's going to happen all the time. So when we first started at MediConnect, we wrote on the board, do what's right. We just had that top line only. And then we realized we needed to add the consequence follow because doing what's right a lot of times means losing. If they're going to lie on an RFP and I'm not going to lie, they'll probably get the business, and I have to be okay with that. I have to be okay with that because it's got to be more important to me to do the right thing than it is to win. So what I care about most is to do the right thing because success is going to come and go, but your integrity is forever. And if I could tell you one of the most surprising things I think for people is to find out that, and this is my belief, but integrity ends up being the most valuable financial asset you're going to have. When people can trust your word in business, you'll be amazed at how far that goes financially for you. We had a situation, we were fundraising, and at one point in the company, and we had one of the investors at the very last minute back down. It was supposed to put in $1 million of our fundraise. And we were talking like within 2 days. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I got to get $1 million in a couple of days here? That's never going to happen. Totally freaked out about it, right? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to just go talk to someone that I've known. Went and sat down with them at lunch, and I said, we had an investor back out. They said, here's a check for $1 million. And I was like, I don't even have the paperwork for you right now. They're like, that's fine. I trust you. I know your integrity level. You give me everything I need later. Now that would never have happened if I had established with people that I was going to do the right thing no matter what the consequence was. Okay, so when I tell you it has a financial gain from it, it really truly does. People will know your reputation, it will carry with you, and it will be worth so much money to you in the future. Okay. The number 2 thing was to operate within your means. So many kids today, this drives me crazy a little bit. I shouldn't say kids today, it sounds weird because I don't feel like I'm that old, but I totally am because I'm like a grandma now. So, but a lot of times they go and think they have to raise all this money to start a company. I'm going to raise all huge, I'm going to raise all this money to huge valuation. Okay, when you raise a dime, you now work for somebody else. The last thing you want to do is raise any more money than you absolutely have to make your company successful. Because for every dollar you raise, guess what? You give up a piece of what you got to get in the end. Now, it doesn't mean it's bad to raise. Obviously, I'm an angel investor. People raise for beyond companies. But the point is, don't raise more than you have to. And don't set yourself up to start spending more than you need to. I mean, we tend to, when we get a paycheck, what do we tend to do? Our needs suddenly grow. I suddenly need a lot more shoes when I have enough, a little more money coming in. Like, we tend to feel that. And so starting a business, I started my first company bootstrapping it, which meant I only spent as I made. And it kept me really disciplined. I had to go make a sale if I wanted to hire somebody or buy a new desk or whatever it was I had to do. So it really forced me to be smart with my money decisions. And it doesn't take that much money to do it right. You just got to get really creative. So I'll show you some of the things we did to get creative. We were a healthcare technology company, which meant we had to hire people that would come and work for our company, and we hired a lot of young college-age people as well. And we had the security issues because we were looking at medical data, healthcare records, right? So you have all these HIPAA laws you have to worry about. Well, that meant we couldn't have people bring their cell phone to work into their desk with them, or they couldn't get on the social media like Facebook and whatnot. And the reason why is because they could have taken medical data and uploaded it. So how do you hire people your age and say no cell phone on the job? How much of you would love that? Right? Yeah. Brutal. So we were like, how are we going to make that sexy? What are we going to do? Are we going to pay a bunch of money for a big recruiting campaign? How are we going to handle it? We started thinking about it, and we're like, well, what jobs do you have to be really secure, but it's super sexy, right? Like CIA, hello, right? I mean, you don't get to take your phone to work there. You don't get to get on social media there, but it's still super cool to be there. So we thought, you know what? Let's do a whole spy theme in the company, and that'll be our way that we'll make security sexy. So we ended up rebranding all of the departments. Instead of finance, we had the Treasury Enforcement Agency, because that just sounds like so much cooler than accounting. We had the OPM, the Office of Personnel Management for HR, and the ROC was our Retrieval Operations Center. And all of a sudden it became that it was actually cool that you had to have security instead of uncool, right? We also did some branding around the office. Our logos and everything else were all rebranded to kind of give it that James Bond spy look and feel. Screensavers on the desktops, all of this stuff was really cheap to do. But it was things, it's like little creative things that made a big difference in the company. We had a wall of distinction. If you killed it on the job, you got your star on the wall. Cheap to do. We had t-shirts done for people, the MCG, because it kind of looked like a cool SWAT, right? And so I'm a cheapskate when it comes to business, not shoes, but business. So I bought all the employees this MCG shirt for Christmas one year and gave them out as a gift. And we're going to come back to these shirts later on the presentation so you can know what happens. When it came to marketing ideas, I am all about not spending money on marketing. It's getting creative. So the best marketing that I've ever gotten in my company came from a bunch of high school kids, because who knows how to market themselves better than high school kids? When they can get likes in seconds on social media. True or not true? Right? So why am I going to pay huge firms with a bunch of old people my age when I could hire a bunch of kids in high school for one $4.99 hot and ready Little Caesars pizza? They'll take anything for a Little Caesars. So I went to every time we needed a campaign, I would go to the high school kids and I would say, hey, here's a pizza, now help me come up with a branding idea for this or a marketing idea for that. And it was brilliant. It's now getting to the junior high. Those guys are like ridiculously good. So super cheap marketing, super free. And a company that we did 90 million in revenue a year, we sold the company, and we had 1.5 people in our marketing department. And I didn't use an outside firm. I literally used high school kids. So you can do a lot of things without spending a lot of money. This is one of the billboards they came up with. This is what awesome looks like. That was one of our sales guys who grew up on a meat farm. Clearly, you get a good workout on a meat farm, apparently. You get great arms. Okay, recruiting for position. This was another campaign we did. We had a problem at MediConnect because we were healthcare technology and we needed to recruit people, but I didn't believe in hiring for talent, for skills. I wanted to hire you for your values. Because I could teach you a skill, but it's really hard to teach you a value, right? So for me, I was like, all these people were opting out of working for us because they didn't think they had the skills to come into the company. So we ended up doing this whole marketing thing that we said, you know what, we're hiring for just talent. We just want your values. And if you have these values, integrity, respect, attitude, dependability, adapts to change, opens to feedback, and goes the extra mile. If you have those qualifications, come and apply here. Thus, the meat farmer that we hired, did the billboard, he had those values, right? Had zero experience in healthcare technology. So we wanted a way to get people to come and apply at the company. Well, the problem was, how did we get people to know that they were qualified? So I didn't want to spend a bunch of money on a marketing campaign, so instead I went to my employees and I said, do me a favor, go home and take a video camera and give me your dumbest talent and send that video to me. So, show you some approaches. We found that just putting up little signs out the doors at companies we thought had good employees. It said, if you're reading this right now, you're clearly a good multitasker, and it just so happens we're hiring multitaskers. If you're so when we had a lot of companies that had good values. We also tried a little guerrilla marketing. We were in a cul-de-sac with our corporation, and we hired some temps for $8 an hour to hold a sign. It said, shame on you for not applying to MetaConnect. And, those labor disputes were going on, and so all of a sudden people in the cul-de-sac were like, oh, what are they doing down there? We should go apply there. By the way, it's not illegal as long as they hold the sign. We know because our neighbors called the cops on us. We were okay. We repurposed everything. I bought a company that had this big RV from like the 1970s or something, and I don't know why they have the RV, but they used it for trade shows. And I was like, what are we going to do with this? Right, I don't need the RV, but here we've already bought this company. So we wrapped it and made it a mobile command center, and it was really inexpensive to wrap it. And we would go park it at the parking lot of companies where we thought they had good values in their company. And at lunchtime we would hand out now hiring cards. Super cheap, right? Super cheap. There's a lot of things you can do that are super cheap to get attention and to get your business out there. The next thing, the third thing that was toward success was that communication is everything. That was actually one of the most humbling things for me to learn, because as a CEO, you try everything, right? You try the incentive programs and bonuses and all this kind of stuff, and at the end of the day, the thing that made the biggest financial impact on my business was communication. Me as a leader communicating. Real quick, I'll tell you about the experiment that was done. They took a bunch of men and women and put them in a room, okay? And at the end of it, they brought them out of the room and they asked 2 questions. What can you tell us about the people around you? And how many exits were in the room and where were they located? Okay, what do you want to guess about what the women knew? They knew all about the people around them. Did the men know anything? No. But the men knew exactly how many exits there were and where they were located. The women had no clue. What they learned from that experiment was before men engage in a conversation, they need to know a couple of things. 1, is it going to be painful? 2, how long is it going to take? And 3, you're done talking about what you want from me. What's my exit? Okay, so who's in here? Is any guys married in here? Okay, your wife comes to you on a Saturday and says, hey, you want to go to Costco? Okay, the black hole of death comes in his mind because he's thinking, oh my gosh, how painful is it going to be? How long is it going to take? And what's my exit when we're done? Now, if your wife came to you and said, hey, Saturday, we need to go to Costco. We just need to pick up this one tent thing. It'll take 5 minutes. When we're done, you can go play video games with your buddies. See how I smile? So that's a really important thing to understand. By the way, ladies in the room, know that for your marriage sake. When you want him to come on a Saturday, you can't just say, can I get your help Saturday? Because he's like, ah. If you say, will you help do this one thing? It'll take you this long, and when you're done, you can do this. He'll be like, okay. Men, true or not true? True. Okay. So what's interesting about that is in business, okay, that's personal life, but in business, men need to know the exit. We'll go back to that one. Men need to know the exit, but so do executive women. You're going to find women in business are the same as men in their personal lives. Okay, if someone calls for a sales call and leaves a message and says, hey, how are you doing today? Guess what goes through my head? Oh my gosh, how long is this going to take? How painful is it? Where's my exit? But if someone calls and says, hi Amy, I just need 3 minutes of your time. It's going to be really quick to discuss this, and when I'm done this, and I'm like, okay, now I'm engaged. You see what I'm trying to say? So remember, in business, personal life, it's mostly just the men you don't have to worry about this way. In business, both men and women are this way, okay? And that will help you when it comes to communicating with someone. If you want someone to mentor you, any of those things, you've got to go start that conversation with those answers. Okay? The other differences between men and women, right? Women walk in front of a mirror, what do? I don't care how good we look. We are picking everything apart. This looks too big, this is sagging, this is not right. Men, no matter how bad they look, are like, looking good. True or not true? Yes, okay. So one of the things I learned is that in our personal life with men, as a woman, I can say to my husband, who's here today, I can say, babe, you look hot, right? And in his mind, he will continue to look hot until I say otherwise, even if it's 20 years down the road. I say, I love you, he remembers it forever. You don't need to hear it again, no, because you already said it 3 years ago, I'm good, right? Women, we're different in our personal lives, right? We wake up every morning, ugly, fat, and unlovable, and it is your job to help me feel beautiful and lovable and all those things. And by the end of the day, you should have done that for me. But then I'm going to go to bed, and what's going to happen tomorrow morning? I'm going to wake up and I'm what? Ugly, fat, and unlovable next day. So I need to hear it every day at home, right? So that's how we're different in our personal lives. But in business, it's different, both genders. The men lead. Men's self-esteem gets very affected in business if they don't hear daily. We women already needed to hear daily. We already have no self-esteem. That's just how we were wired. But you men need to hear it in business daily. So when it comes to communicating with employees or coworkers, it's got to be a daily thing. Okay, so at MetaConnect, I learned that I would communicate every day with the employees, but we were almost 2,000 people. How are you going to do that? So I started a daily blog. And every day, 5 days a week, I would post for my employees. And it was consistent, because if I skipped a day, I lost the trust, right? It's all about the integrity factor. The other thing I learned is to make it bi-directional. My employees could go on and respond back to my blog at any time. Make it inclusive. We would ask everybody for ideas. Some of our best ideas came from the lowest position, like if you had someone who was a security guard walk in the facility, he might come up with something that solved a finance issue we've been working on forever that I had my, people with MBAs couldn't figure it out. The guy was doing security bid, because they see things differently, so always make it really inclusive. Make it personal. When we first launched our portal to our clients, this was what they saw. It was lady from Shutterstock. Okay, some picture we bought. And we realized there's no personal connection there with our clients. So we decided to replace the lady with each individual executive or account manager. And we put their picture on there, and just that little thing of putting their picture on there, all of a sudden clients have this personal connection. Then we realized we gotta make it fun, because they're looking at this every day. I like going to Google every day because I love seeing how it's going to change, right? It's always kind of fun to see what they've done. So we would do little different pictures. We'd have like, Happy Marshmallow Day, or, if it was a Monday or a Friday, and we'd do these fun little pictures, and so those would change, and the clients loved it. Just a little thing, didn't cost money. They loved it. Make it relevant. I get these boring newsletters from the airlines and whatnot. I never open any of them because they're boring and I don't care, right? So we were like, why are we sending out MetaConnect newsletters to people that has a bunch of technical stuff no one cares about? We started thinking, what would they care about? Well, let's see, it's Thanksgiving time, football's on. What if we sent out a newsletter that said how to get your girlfriend or wife to watch football with you? Tell her about the personal lives of the players. And then we listed out, this guy had an affair with this person, and he had to buy her this ring, and this guy did this, and this, and all of a sudden, all of our clients were like reading our newsletter, and they're like, this is awesome, my wife totally watched the game. She was way into it, right? So totally had nothing to do with MetaConnect, or healthcare technology, or records, or anything. But we were making it interesting for them. We were doing little recipes out, or we were doing Valentine's ideas, or Christmas ideas. We never heard anything about like technical healthcare technology. And all of a sudden, a newsletter that hadn't been read for years was getting read and forwarded on to other customers and potential customers who would call and say, like, you guys sent the funnest newsletter out. We totally love this. How do we get a demo of your business? Okay, so make it really personal and fun and relevant. Make it meaningful. We always try to make sure we send people birthday cards. Handwritten cards are the most valued thing that anyone has. Over money, it's a handwritten card. So remember that. That's the most valuable thing. If you think about it, what do you say? Handwritten notes. I have a box of my handwritten notes. I don't know what I got for most of my gifts. Except for you got me a Bentley. That was pretty cool. But everything else I forget, right? But those cards, I have them and I save them for years. What happened in that company? When we started doing the communication, when we started making it inclusive and getting everyone's ideas, suddenly we went from having those MCG t-shirts to people saying, hey, we want you to have other MCG stuff we can buy, that we can wear. And I was like, well, I'm not going to give it away for you because like I'm super cheap. And they're like, we'll pay for it ourselves. And I was like, you guys want to pay to wear company logo stuff? But they did, because they felt like they were part of this really fun culture, that they were all engaged and they were all part of something bigger than themselves. And they loved it. So I asked them for ideas, and there was over 150 ideas that they posted within minutes on a whiteboard. And the company board, and I was like, oh my gosh, and we had baby onesies and rodeo buckles for our ecom office and all kinds of cool stuff, right? And everywhere you went, you'd see MCG stuff. Even now, my kids will be on campus down at college, and they'll be like, Mom, I just saw an MCG shirt the other day, and the company's been sold for several years. So it's interesting to see how that culture, when we started to communicate and be inclusive and really like make it known what our values were, It went, the employees were happy, they were willing to then make the customers happy, which led to more customers, and all of that ultimately led to selling the company for over $377 million. Okay? A really quick couple of tips I want to give you as far as helping you guys succeed. How many of you guys consider yourself lucky? Okay. There was a study done by Dr. Stuart Weitzman. I'm going to go pretty quick because we're going a long time. But Dr. Weitzman brought people in and said, on an application, do you consider yourself lucky, yes or no, amongst other questions. They then sent him into a room and asked him to look at a newspaper and said, count how many photos are in the paper. When they got to the second page, under one of the photos it said, there's X number of photos in this paper, write it down, go collect a $100 bonus for finding this. The people that it's marked on the application, they did not consider themselves lucky, did not notice page 2, and went on to count all the photos. The people who going into it and marked they thought they were lucky, all noticed it and went got the bonus. Okay? Really interesting factor. And he ends up doing a whole bunch of those studies. And what he found out is people that think they're lucky going into it are looking for the luck. I get on an airplane, I'm sitting next to a guy that I don't know, and I'm like, but I'm a lucky person, so whoever you are, I better get to know you because there's something really lucky going to happen for me in this conversation. Right? I look at every situation, I'm thinking I'm lucky, so there's going to be some lucky thing that happens for me. And you'll notice those things if you think you're lucky. But when you don't, you're going to miss them. You've got to change your mindset there. Network yourself. Don't be afraid to talk to people. I was really intimidated when I was young. Being one of the only females in the entire situation, a bunch of older men in suits, it could have been my dad, all of them. Super awkward, right? And you just feel like you're the dumbest one in the room. But what I found was, at one of the events, someone walked up to me and they said, hi, how are you doing? And I was like, oh my gosh, I love you right now. For a second, I didn't say that out loud, but in my mind, I was like, I love you so much for talking to me because I felt so uncomfortable. As I drove home that day, I went, you know what? I bet there's other people in the room that was uncomfortable as I was. What that person did for me, I want to do for other people now. So I started to. I just started to go to like, hi, how are you doing? And I shake their hand, right? And what I learned was, don't ever be afraid to talk to them. I've never had anybody offended when I went up and said hi and said something nice to somebody. So don't be afraid to network people and talk to them because they really appreciate that person who's willing to go out and do that. The other thing is put yourself in the running. I had an employee that I didn't even know who he was. We were hiring for a top management position. He put in his resume and I was like, who's this guy? Because I'd never heard of the name. It was a top level position. Well, come to find out he was just started. He was new and he was in a low level position and he was applying for like a top position. And he didn't get it, but you know what? His name stuck in my head. Couldn't get it out of my head and I'm like, every time we open, he would come up and I'm like, how's that guy doing? And ultimately that guy ended up running the entire department. Now that would never have happened if he didn't put himself in the running. Sometimes you're going to put yourself in the running and you're not going to get picked, but you're going to get noticed. And that's what really matters. So don't be afraid to put yourself in the running. And don't think of it as a failure if you don't end up getting it, because someone will notice you, and that will pay back later. Okay. Avoid negativity. My dad's favorite saying is don't lie down with dogs, you'll get fleas. Just don't be around negative people, okay? No one wants to be around negative people, and in business, a boss will watch to see the negative people flock together and avoid all of them. So do not hang out with other negative people. And be likable. No one wants to hang out with the right guy with Eeyore because he's a downer. But Tigger is fun, and we all have our Tiggers. So just be a happy, positive person. People will do business with people they like. Okay, I don't have time for this story, so I'll tell the 2-second of it. It's a really fun story, but my husband's here, so we always like to throw it in. He's here to embarrass him. We got married 10 years ago. I was single mom for a long time. We got married 10 years ago, and we got married in December, or New Year's Eve. So we get married and it's snowing. And he says, honey, where's our snow shovel? And I was like, I don't have one because I'm single, and, the neighbors do it when you're single, so. And he's like, well, we need a shovel. And then he ran to go do errands. So in my mind, he said we need a shovel. Well, I wanted a snowboard. And he's like, no, because our son needs to learn the value of work. So I get online and I Google it and find this thing called the level. And I'm like, sweet, this is like Time Magazine Invention of the Year. It's supposed to be like state-of-the-art snow shovel. So I overnight it for a ton of money because it weighed a huge, like, I don't know, it was several $100s to buy the shovel, and then the shipping was probably like $100, something like that. Okay, so I get all excited that we have the shovel. He gets home, and I was like, I need this snow shovel. It's awesome. It's going to be here tomorrow. I'm overnighting it. And he's like, what are you talking about? They're at Home Depot for like $10. I was like, no, this is the level. He was like, send it back. I'm like, you don't even know what it is, right? We're newlyweds. You have to like be nice still. So I want you to see it. The level. I don't know why the men think that's funny, because like seriously aerodynamic. Like doesn't hurt your back. You can There's an instructional DVD that explains the whole thing. Long story short, he freaked out, refused to use it. I said, you have to, because when Haley wets it, I'm going to start crying. And he was like, fine, I'll use it one time, but I'm going to wait till it's dark so nobody sees me. My son went and got his video camera. I was like, this is totally going on YouTube when we're done here. So anyway, he went out there at night, car comes down, he drops the shovel, runs in, hides. Disassembles the whole thing and comes in and says, yeah, never again. Okay, now, the lesson I learned from that, besides the fact that he should have watched the instructional DVD and he probably would have liked it, is that all the experience in the world, all the spreadsheets and data and Googling stuff in the world is great, but unless you had actual experience, you guys are in a position now, seek advice from those who have experience. Your friends are awesome, but they don't have the experience you need. So go and talk to those who do. That'll be some of the most valuable, like I had never shoveled snow, probably should have been buying a $500 snow shovel, even though I still argue it's awesome. And the most important thing I can tell you is to never give up. I love this sign, everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. We're going to end on my goal poster. Who said it was done again right here? Remember this poster I made? Didn't look at it for like another 8 years. Went to go move offices and everything on that poster had happened. Except for Steve Ballmer, Gates retired, that still totally counts. Okay? So then I was like, I'm going to make another goal poster. But my dad had been called to go on a mission to Africa to serve in the temple there, and he said, you need to come out here and get married. And I was like, that's great, Dad, don't have a boyfriend, single mom, no time, running a company. 6 months later, I ended up in Africa, getting married to that guy. Okay? So then I was like, now I really need a better goal poster. So I came home and I made a new goal poster. That was 10 years ago. On it, I wanted to sell a company for a bunch of money, angel invest, go see the 7 wonders of the world. I found the postcard. Apparently there's way more than 7, but I didn't know that. And the plane, because like, who just doesn't want the plane, right? So over the next 10 years, let me show you some things that happened. I ended up going on trips to these places, not because I planned them, according to this, they just happened because of life events. Okay? Ended up selling the company, was able to start my angel investment firm, Rees Capital, and my foundation to be able to help other entrepreneurs. Got my life back with my kiddos and my husband. And then I was like, now I'm going to build a house. So I sat down and made a goal poster of the house I wanted to build. I sold the company, I thought I'll build a house. These are some pictures I gathered together, and there's a whole PowerPoint of these that was a huge goal poster for my house. But that's a picture of the actual house I built.
Oh my God.
You know, ladies, can we look at the closet? Just wait 2 seconds, sorry, don't worry. Then I decided I need to make a new one. All these things keep happening, right? These goal posters keep coming through. Don't know why it works, but it totally does. I'm starting to, I know, right? So now I was like, okay, so now I go, my husband's like, you should make a new one. I was like, I don't know what to put on it anymore, I'm a little scared. So I told him I wanted my kids to get married in the temple for our church. I wanted to finish my education because I didn't get to. But I was like, I'm not going back to college because I teach at a bunch of the colleges and that's awkward. I want a ton of grandkids, European vacation, and write a book. And that's all that's been on the poster so far, this new one, because I still am trying to figure out what else goes on there. And within 2 months, I got a call saying I was being given an honorary PhD. I was like, I freaking love my poster. Over that summer, we went to Europe. Those were all the cities we visited in Europe on our European adventure. If you don't believe me, there's the pictures to prove it. Okay? My son got married. My daughter's still single, so they're super cute. Just saying, I'm a missionary. And 6 weeks ago, I had my first grandbaby. So, and I work for a publishing company that wants to publish my book. So, if you don't believe in the poster, I'm just saying, make one. I'll be here to make one. I want you to take a digital picture and send it to me, because I can tell you hundreds of stories of people that have made the poster and it works for everybody, not just me. Okay? The most important lesson is don't limit the picture in your mind, because God intended the picture to be a masterpiece. That girl that could not balance her checkbook in college went on to do crazy stuff because of that gold poster. Okay? So don't be afraid to try. Make your poster. I post 5 days a week still. Since 2010, I have not missed a day. And I try to share every lesson I'm learning. And you guys are welcome to come to the blog and read whatever you want to. I also look forward to having a post. And that's how you get a hold of me. And that's my website where my blog is. And hopefully if there's things that I didn't get to cover today, you guys will get time to look at some of those and you can see what else there is. But thank you for letting me come.